For most of recorded human history, the hero has stood as a beacon of human possibility. A being in whom mortal finitude brushes against the eternal, whose earthly limits stretch toward the divine. Civilizations shape their souls around such beings. Achilles, Aeneas, Odysseus, Rostam, Arjuna, Beowulf. These figures emerge as ethical, metaphysical, and civilizational propositions. Their power expresses destiny and cosmic order. They stand at the threshold between the human and the divine, not by mutation, but by vocation. Marvel Comics and the global cinematic empire erected upon its foundations did not inherit this tradition. It devoured it, inverted it, hollowed it out, and replaced it with an anthropology of post-human pageant. Marvel did not modernize the hero, it killed him, and in his place raised a pantheon of mutants, accidents, prosthetic demigods, and trauma-made aberrations who bear almost no resemblance to humanity's ancient champions. What Marvel has built is an anti-heroic pantomime, a pseudo-mythology faking a heroic cosmology. It has dismantled the sacred architecture of heroism and reshaped the collective psyche into something smaller and cosmically unmoored. In the ancient world, heroism arises from the deepening of human nature, not the replacement of it. Achilles may be the son of a goddess, but his greatness lies in the tragic sublimity of courage confronting mortality. Odysseus is entirely human. His heroism springs from cunning, endurance, and wit. Aeneas carries a civilization on his back, not because he is altered, but because he is obedient to fate, bound to the destiny of Rome. Arjuna's ascent comes not through mutation, but through revelation. Krishna transforms his vision, not his DNA. Rostam's strength is no laboratory outcome, but a divinely entrusted responsibility earned by moral stature and used to guard his homeland. The classical hero does not transcend humanity by abandoning it. He transcends by fulfilling it. For the ancient world, the hero stands on a continuum with humanity. He is not other than human. He is more deeply human. His power harmonizes with virtue, cosmic order, and divine will. The heroic journey is not the display of an anomaly, but the pedagogy of becoming. Marvel inverts this cosmology by proposing a universe in which ordinary humanity is inadequate. Peter Parker becomes heroic through a mutated spider's bite. Bruce Banner through catastrophic irradiation. Captain America is a failed soldier until the military-industrial complex rewrites his body. Wolverine is the product of vivisection and weaponization. Jean Grey becomes extraordinary through cosmic possession. Cyclops through a mutation requiring perpetual restraint. Iron Man through technological prosthesis. The message is unmistakable. To be a hero in Marvel's universe, one must cease to be human. One must become hybrid, altered, mutated, or mechanized. Marvelian heroism is never the flowering of humanity, it is the negation of it. It is true that Marvel includes a handful of fully human heroes, that's correct. Black Widow, Hawkeye, The Punisher, Nick Fury, Sharon Carter, yet their presence only strengthens the argument. None occupies the mythic center of Marvel's cosmology. They orbit the larger gravitational core dominated by post-human demigods. Their humanity is never framed as a model of human potential. Black Widow and Hawkeye survive through extreme training, chemical conditioning, espionage hardening, and military precision. They function as elite operatives rather than mythic archetypes, and the narrative never suggests that ordinary humanity could reach their station. They stand beside beings whose power originates in mutation, augmentation, cosmic accident, or technological integration, proving Marvel's conviction that humanity unaided is insufficient. Even Iron Man, often cited as Marvel's human genius, ultimately confirms this structural truth. Tony Stark does not triumph because he is human. He triumphs only by leaving humanity's limits behind. His intelligence alone would not save him. His heroism depends entirely on a technological apparatus embedded in his chest and wrapped around his body, a system that both sustains and empowers him. Where Odysseus survives through the ingenuity of an unaltered mind, guided by Athena and tempered by hardship, and where Achilles remains a mortal hero whose divine favor intensifies rather than replaces his humanity, Tony Stark survives by becoming hybrid, armored, mechanized, fundamentally altered. Unlike Achilles, whose divine armor honored an already heroic nature without altering it, Tony Stark becomes heroic only by transforming beyond the human. Achilles' equipment expresses his fate. Iron Man's equipment replaces his humanity. Achilles wears armor and remains a man. Tony Stark wears armor and stops being one. Marvel's ethos is clear. Human nature, even at its most brilliant, is not enough. To matter, the human must be replaced or encased. For the classical hero, power is a challenge of moral alignment. Achilles must master wrath. Arjuna must act without attachment. Odysseus must resist temptation. Rustam must wield power with justice. These struggles are ethical, not anatomical. Marvel's heroes, by contrast, are defined by internal malfunction. Bruce Banner must not become angry or he becomes a monster. Cyclops must fear opening his eyes. Jean Grey must fear her own mind. Spider-Man must live with a biologically rewired body, reflexes, precognitive sense, and hyper-responsive instincts no unaltered human nervous system could bear. Wolverine's life is an endless loop of pain and lost identity. Their crises are not ethical but regulatory. Marvel converts the heroic journey into trauma management. Its heroes are not elevated by power, they are destabilized by it. Their central struggle is biochemical and metabolic. They are not guided by divine vocation but monitored like patients. Marvel's apologists point to its gods and cosmic beings as evidence of mythic grandeur. Yet these beings are not gods in any ancient or theological sense. They possess power, but not sanctity. They do not reveal, command, or uphold cosmic order. This hollowness becomes clearest in Marvel's supposed supreme creator, the one above all, a figure whose conception exposes the spiritual vacancy of Marvel's cosmology. Canon states that the one above all dwells not in a divine realm, but in the house of ideas, a metafictional author's room. He appears as Jack Kirby with a pencil that redraws reality. He comforts Peter Parker, resurrects the Thing, encourages Beta Ray Bill. These are editorial cameos, not acts of God. He issues no commandments, no sacred law, no heroic vocation. He rarely intervenes, and when he does, the scale is pastoral rather than cosmic. His omnipotence is set to function only when the multiversal system is stable. A god whose power falters when the plot requires. Thanos can literally absorb him. Worse yet, he's corruptible. Infected by the mother of horrors, he manifests as the one below all. In Marvel, good and evil are not metaphysical absolutes, but two moods of a divided psyche. This is not a deity. It is a glitchy, creative function masquerading as one. Marvel's primordial elder gods reinforce this anti-mythic pattern. Born benevolent, they degenerate into cannibals and demons. Set devours his siblings. Chthon collapses into chaos. Their god war ravages the young earth. Gaia begs for a godslayer. Autumn then assumes that role and exterminates the pantheon. In Greek myth, conflict among gods culminates in a meaningful cosmic order. Zeus overthrows Kronos and establishes a stable sacred hierarchy. In Persian mythology, the cosmic struggle between Ahura Mazda and Anger-Menu is not chaos without purpose, but moral structure of the universe itself. Their opposition defines the battle between truth and falsehood, light and darkness, and gives humanity a role within a divinely governed cosmos. In Indian cosmology, the wars between devas and asuras likewise serve a metaphysical purpose. These conflicts clarify dharma, renew cosmic balance, and re-establish the rhythm by which the universe sustains itself. Even divine battles are pedagogical, revealing the moral architecture that humans must emulate. Marvel offers no such pattern. In Marvel, cosmic conflict culminates in vacancy rather than order. It is performance without metaphysics, destruction without revelation. Even the surviving elder gods behave not as deities, but as dimension hoppers, corruptors, artifact makers. They sanctify nothing. Even in the case of Ymir's story and world-shaping acts of Odin and his brothers, the canon consistently presents the Asgardians as an advanced humanoid race rather than true divinities. Their powers come from super physiology and science, not from metaphysical sovereignty. Even when they are framed as gods, the status is cultural, not ontological. They do not create the universe, uphold cosmic law, or govern fate. In Marvel's own logic, the Asgardians are extraordinary aliens whose mythic aura is misunderstanding of their advanced nature, not a reflection of genuine divinity. They are warriors with preferences, not sovereigns who establish a moral order for mankind. So Marvel has no true sacred order. Its universe is spiritually hollow. In the Marvel universe, humanity is not invited to ascend. It is trained to kneel. Ordinary humans cannot emulate Marvel's champions. They are not called to cultivate virtue or moral imagination. They are taught instead to hope for mutation, accident, or augmentation. Greatness becomes a lottery. Thus, humanity is reduced from potential hero to permanent dependent. It kneels beneath its guardians, praying that the next cosmic incursion or mutant war will spare it. These beings do not elevate humanity, they replace it. In the ancient world, the hero stands for humanity. In Marvel's world, he stands instead of humanity. The classical hero is an exemplar of what the human soul may become. The Marvel hero is a spectacle of what the human body can never be. This creates a psychological inversion. The hero ceases to be the summit of human possibility and becomes its contradiction. In Marvel's universe, humans become a client species living under the shadow of their post-human custodians. They do not inhabit a shared moral cosmos. They worship what they cannot become. This is not mythology. It is the abdication of myth. The most catastrophic dimension of Marvel's global dominance is its reshaping of the collective imagination. For millennia, epic heroes taught cultures how to imagine excellence. They offered virtues one could imitate: courage, endurance, wisdom, justice, devotion. Achilles shaped Greek honor. Odysseus shaped the Greek mind's relationship to suffering and cunning. Arjuna shaped Indian metaphysics. Rustam shaped Persian chivalry. Today, Marvel occupies this role worldwide. And what does it teach? That power is an accident. That heroism is mutation. That virtue is secondary to biology. That suffering does not refine, it mutates. That humanity is insufficient. Marvel's heroes are not models of aspiration, but objects of admiration. Children dream of radioactive spiders, not excellence. Adolescents fantasize about transformation, not discipline. Adults internalize a worldview in which salvation arrives not through virtue, but through cosmic or technological intervention. Thus, Marvel severs heroism from humanity. The classical hero elevates the psyche by revealing what humanity may become. Marvel diminishes it by insisting humanity can never be enough. Marvel has colonized the global imagination, and through its reach, has warped the sacred architecture of heroism. This is reprogramming on a civilizational scale. Yet the ancient heroes still shine. Untouched by modern spectacle, Achilles, Aeneas, Odysseus, Arjuna, Rustam, Beowulf, these figures endure because they affirm the sacred truth that humanity can be magnificent without abandoning itself. Their stories are ladders to enlightenment. They teach that suffering is a crucible, that destiny is sacred, that virtue transforms, and that the divine calls humanity upward rather than mutating it outward. Marvel may have killed the modern hero, but the ancient hero endures, luminous, inexhaustible, calling future generations not to seek greatness through mutation, but through destiny, wisdom, virtue, and the sacred order that once shaped the human imagination. So where does this leave us today? It is astonishing how firmly contemporary culture elevates Marvel's cardboard titans, as though a handful of quips wrapped in CGI musculature could replace the heroic inheritance of entire civilizations. One can watch the tragedy unfold in real time, a generation trading the epic arcs of its ancestors for characters whose depth begins and ends with trauma backstories and inconsistent power scaling. What Marvel offers is perpetual adolescence. Stories engineered to flatter the viewer instead of transforming him. Characters designed to be liked, not to teach. Worlds written for consumption rather than contemplation. And perhaps that is the saddest part. Not that billions mistake monsters for heroes of humanity, but that they have never been told how much richer, deeper, stranger, and more exalted the human imagination becomes when it feasts on actual myth instead of mass-market post-human fantasies. Unless, of course, the epic is turned into a movie mangled by creative liberties and studio executives. One day, perhaps, a Marvel superfan will put down the Funko Pop, pick up a real epic, and feel embarrassed. Because once you glimpse the true magnitude of human greatness, the entire Marvel universe looks like a theme park built atop a ruined temple. Yet the path back to that temple remains clear. It is carved through the epics of every civilization, lit by heroes who rose without mutation, guided by gods who still speak. Whoever follows that path will discover that the human soul was always capable of more than the age of spectacle allowed it to believe.